The fight between Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol is over now, and it truly proved to be one of the biggest clashes of the Riyadh season. Here are some of the most notable reactions.
Hey bud, what'd you think, man? I saw you dap up Dmitry in the ring. What'd you think of the fight?
Oh man, he did good, man. He won the fight.
Overall, the way he fought, what do you think made the difference tonight in your opinion?
He was in better shape.
Yeah?
He left it all in the ring. He wanted it more.
Just a quick one on Beterbiev. Did you agree with the scorecards?
I'll be real, I was caught up in an in-depth conversation, future planning and so on. So I can't tell you exactly what the scorecards were, what it looked like at the fight because I wasn't fully locked in. But the score's the score, innit? You can't reverse time. What did you make of it? You tell me.
It was close, but yeah, I'm not going to argue with anything. It was very close.
Was it?
Yeah,
like the first one?
Yeah.
Would you want to see a trilogy?
I don't know if we need to, but I would definitely watch it. Would you watch it? I would definitely watch it. Do you know what? They're both very elite fighters because what makes them so unique is that they're so different in terms of their game plans, their strengths, their weaknesses. They're so different, but they gel so well. Do you know what I mean? Because you're expecting one thing from Artur. Bivol's like slick and showing us what boxing IQ looks like. Then you got a rugged, tough, strong man in Artur Beterbiev, and they just gel really well.
What was different about this fight from the first fight?
I don't know. I think this fight better than first fight, but we'll see. It's my time to come back.
When you come back, we saw Turki Al-Sheikh come up to you right after, put 3 fingers in the air, saying third fight. Is that what you want? A rubber match with Dmitry Bivol?
Actually, I don't want second fight too. I mean, it's not my choice, but no problem. We're gonna do third fight if we need.
After the fight, I came to Beterbiev and I told him, Artur, I respect you so much because when I was young and I came to national team, I was looking after you, how you are training, and you were the #1. I really respect you and I want to shake your hand and say thank you for this fight. And we shake hands. And he said, thank you for the fight also, and this is sport. Yeah, this is what happened. You are a good fighter also. And then we had another talk. He came, but he didn't. But he said, like, I will not shake hand now because we will have third fight. And it was in the normal way, not like arrogant. You know, it was fine. I said, okay, no problem.
Main event, what a fight it was. I mean, 2 unbelievable gladiators, the best of their generation by far, and what a fight they put on for the fans. I mean, it had everything. It was fought at an unbelievable pace, brilliant skills, courage, bloody whiskers they've got, the pair of them. And I've got to take my hat off to Beterbiev. He's 40 years of age. How does he do that?
Oh my goodness. What was your thoughts right before they read the scorecards?
I thought Bivol just got it. I thought he came back into it. You know, I think we talked about it before the fight. I said I think the first round would be like the 13th or the last, where Beterbiev came back into it. I felt that he would start stronger this time, but I was surprised that he just, like at one stage, you know, was it I think about the 8th round, it seemed like a little bit of gas slowed down a bit. But great fight, fabulous fight.
Some people have Bivol winning both fights. Of course, the first one went to Beterbiev on the card. So what happens if we see a third, which I assume we're going to do?
Well, I'm sure the guys will do it. You know, I mean, nothing's been done yet. But if they do, cool, bloody hell. Can you imagine what that's going to be like?
And I mean, listen, I was going for Beterbiev, but I think the right man won tonight. Could have been a draw, but I think that Bivol edged it by 1-2 rounds, for sure.
What do you think made the difference?
The accumulating of punches. I think that even though he was fighting on his back foot, he was throwing more combinations, and I think landing a little bit more, a bit better. I think what I would take from Beterbiev, I think what I noticed a bit different was that he was going for the body more than the head. I think he should have kept going that route. I think it would have slowed Bivol down. But hey, I think that we should look forward to a trilogy now.
Unbelievable. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't believe Dmitry Bivol won that fight after what I saw through 5 rounds, because I thought he won the first 2 rounds, and then we knew Beterbiev would start fast, and he just came out like an absolute train, and it looked like nothing was going to stop him, or nothing was going to, just reduce the pressure. And what we saw from there is probably the best boxing performance I've ever seen live. It was unbelievable. I mean, young fighters, look at the way he stabbed the body, landed on the body, made Beterbiev follow him around, worked to angles. It was just the purest performance I've ever seen.
Derek, we have just seen Dimitri Bivol crowned undisputed. What do you make of his performance tonight?
Great fight. He won the last 2 rounds. That's why he won it.
In terms of winning the last 2 rounds, that's where he thinks he lost it in the last fight. What technically do you think he improved on?
You see, he dropped in round 9, yeah, and 10 was split, and he just went on from 11, 12, and that was it.
Do you think he won or lost the first fight?
I think he lost. He lost the first fight because they didn't give him the belts. If he won that, they would have given him the belts. So he lost the first fight. He won the second fight. Now we'll see fight number 3.
Prior to the fight, experts shared varying opinions on the rematch. Dave Coldwell offered his perspective, suggesting that Beterbiev would have performed better in their first bout if he had focused on attacking the body earlier. Coldwell predicted that this time, Beterbiev would start by targeting Bivol's body from the outset.
I expect him to go to the body earlier because we saw towards the end of the fight, Bivol was dragged into more of a fight, and he coped with it really well. In fact, throughout the fight, in quite a few of the exchanges, he handled himself really, really well, which surprised a lot of people. But he got dragged into the fight later on. If Beterbiev was going to the body earlier, would that have happened earlier, and would he have been able to have coped for as longer periods? So I'm expecting Beterbiev to go to the body more.
Dave Coldwell also went on to share his expectations for Bivol in the rematch, pointing out that Bivol had already felt Artur Beterbiev's power and knew exactly what to expect. He believed Bivol would approach the fight with more confidence this time and praised the skills and preparations of both fighters.
But also, I'm expecting Bivol, because he's now been in the ring with a monster, he knows what that power feels like, he knows what, he knows how it's going to be, and he feels as though he equipped himself really well and he coped with it. I wonder if Bivol's going to be more confident and a better fighter. I expect both fighters to be better.
Before the fight, Beterbiev's trainers were completely confident in his victory. Mark Ramsey, Beterbiev's head trainer, shared his thoughts on the rematch with Dimitri Bivol. Looking back on their previous encounter, Ramsey acknowledged that Beterbiev had difficulty landing clean shots. However, he remained highly confident that this time, Beterbiev would inflict far more damage on Bivol.
Because the first fight, we really beat him up like physically, like you say, but it was never like really clean punch that we are able. He came. We have to give him that. He came with a very strong, tight defense in that fight, and we was not able to really like make him do a bad move and catch him right on the chin or right. Majority of the punch was on the guard and outside of the straight punches, straight right. It was hard to catch, like very clean. I think we can do a way better job at this, using the right angle and the right punch at the right moment. And of course, I will do a lot more.
Renowned boxing analyst Russ Anber also weighed in on the rematch between Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. He reflected on their previous bout and went on to suggest that Dimitri Bivol would need to come up with something exceptional this time.
Bivol's going to have to come up with something. He's going to have to pull something out of the hat to come up with a better performance and overtake whatever Beterbiev brings to the table. So, but at least it's a great fight. At least the rematch is made, and that's great for boxing.
Reflecting on the previous bout between Beterbiev and Bivol, Russ mentioned that Beterbiev fought more cautiously in that fight. He anticipated that Beterbiev would perform with enhanced aggression this time around. He said, "I think he had surgery on the knee. He wasn't coming back, wasn't as forceful as he usually is. He seemed to be a lot more conservative. I personally gave him the edge at the end of the fight. I thought he closed out the last 3 rounds quite solidly. I thought he showed that he was able to hurt Bivol. I think he can improve on his performance." Prior to the fight, Teddy Atlas has also shared his perspective. Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts on the previous fight between Bivol and Beterbiev, noting that Bivol needed to be cautious about what to avoid in the rematch. He expressed his belief that Beterbiev was the true winner of their first encounter and deserved the victory. The veteran analyst also outlined his expectations for both fighters heading into their rematch.
He did everything he had to do to win that fight the first time. What he has to not do, and I think the perfect encapsulation of this, Bud, would be, bear with me if I'm wrong with the round, but either way, I'm not wrong with what happened. Around the 7th round, blew past the midway point. Around the 7th round of a fight that he might have been winning. Tough fight. But I thought Beterbiev came on in the championship rounds and won the fight. I thought he won. I mean, no controversy, but a good fight, a tough fight. And I expect the same thing, no less, from both these top guys in heavyweight.
While many praised Bivol for his performance in the first fight against Beterbiev, Bivol had a different perspective. Although others believed he won, for him it was about more than just the result. He expressed his thoughts, emphasizing what truly mattered to him in this situation.
You know, I didn't think about, oh, I won or I lose. I was thinking about this moment in the fight wasn't good. This moment was good. I have a fight. I have to create much more good moments. That's it. It's not necessary to think about. You cannot change anything. You cannot complain about that, oh, I didn't win or I won, but they didn't give me the win. It makes you weak. It doesn't help you for the preparation. This is why I decided, no, it doesn't matter. Fight is done. I have another fight. I have to work on another fight. Moving forward.
Beterbiev's assistant trainer, John Scully, emphasized Beterbiev's powerful punches, recalling the visible damage on Bivol's face. He noted that during the press conference, Bivol's eyes showed signs of discoloration, clearly indicating that he hadn't fully healed from the injury since their October fight. Scully made it clear that they were ready to capitalize on the same advantage in the rematch that had just taken place.
So that shows you how hard Artur's hitting in there. You know, and I saw they went to the press conference a few weeks ago, and you know, none of us went, just Artur and he went. And you could see in the pictures that the eye was discolored, like almost like it was still discolored from October, which isn't unreasonable when you get that kind of damage. So either way, it's either the same injury or he's been damaged again. But that shows a susceptibility there, which obviously we're going to exploit.
John Scully went on to point out the factors that favored Beterbiev's chances of winning this time. While both fighters needed to make adjustments, Scully believed Beterbiev had a better opportunity to do so. He made a surprising revelation, suggesting that Bivol wouldn't have enough this time to box as effectively.
I thought this from the beginning. It would seem to me we have more that we could adjust and be successful than Bivol does. Because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, he can't fight with her. He can't say, okay, this time I'm going to go toe-to-toe. He can't do that. We know he can't do that. And he doesn't want to do that. I know he doesn't want to do that. But he can't box more because then it'll look like he doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to blend some of that together. And either way, to win, he's going to have to make himself a little more susceptible, which is obviously in our favor. So that's where I stand on that.
Former light heavyweight world champion Oleksandr Gvozdyk also shared his thoughts on the potential rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Reflecting on their first fight, he leaned toward Bivol. While Beterbiev was undergoing intense training for the upcoming bout, Oleksandr, who had fought Beterbiev himself, believed that Beterbiev was no longer in his prime and was starting to decline as he approached 40.
Well, the first fight I was thinking is gonna be Beterbiev, but after fight, I scored Bivol win, maybe like a little bit, but still win this fight. Won. Yeah, I got Bivol, yeah. But, you know, it's usually a question either, because Beterbiev is about 40 years old. So it's either he starts fading out, just getting old, because obviously when he trains, he feels like he's 100%. But only when you fight this type of opponents like Bivol is, then you see the difference where your body not react as good, the same as before. Now, I basically think that Bivol won the first fight. But at the same time, I have to admit that I didn't see the same Beterbiev as in his last fight, when he was super aggressive, this vicious pressure, those punches. Maybe there's two options. Maybe either Bivol didn't let him, or plus he was right. Beterbiev was coming back to the ring right after injury. Plus maybe they didn't have enough time or something, and so now it's gonna be. We're gonna see what happened.
Alexander continued to back Bivol in the rematch against Beterbiev, stating that Bivol now had greater confidence. He believed that having already faced Beterbiev, Bivol would apply the lessons from their first encounter. Alexander also highlighted a key factor that he felt would lead to Bivol's victory in the rematch.
Because Bivol gonna be better this time, I'm sure. He's gonna be more confident, he knows what to do, he knows what he didn't do or didn't do enough. And Beterbiev, if we're gonna see like an old version of Beterbiev, like all his previous fight before Bivol, this is gonna be an interesting fight. But if he starts fading up, I think this Bivol has an advantage because he is young, he's getting confident, and now he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do in the first fight.
On the other hand, John Scully was confident that Beterbiev would secure another victory. He emphasized that the difference in Beterbiev's preparations this time was striking. Since their last encounter, Beterbiev had become a much improved fighter, and John assured that he would deliver his best performance, backed by enhanced strength and conditioning.
Oh, for sure. Well, you know, we came off the last fight. He had just gotten surgery done on his knee, you know, on a meniscus, you know, which I hadn't even thought about till actually relatively recently. But, you know, I'm sure that was on his mind. But for this fight, he's, I guess, like even with his strength coach is saying the difference is night and day between last fight and this fight. He can do so much more like he normally does. And I think different things that we've worked on that he was responding to, I would say I feel very happy about.
The February 22nd fight card had shaped up to be the best of the century. With Beterbiev and Bivol facing off in the rematch, expectations were extremely high. Abel Sanchez believed that Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev were clearly superior to David Benavidez. In an interview with Marcos Villegas, Sanchez shared his analysis of Benavidez's performance against David Morrell and discussed how he would fare against both Bivol and Beterbiev.
I honestly think that those two guys are head and shoulders above these two guys. Bivol and Beterbiev are natural 75-pounders, I want to say. Bivol is a much better technically sound fighter than Benavidez. Hits a little bit harder, I think, than Benavidez, and a little stronger than Benavidez. And Morrell's got a little way to go. Now, the monster, the other guy, the real monster, Beterbiev, to me, if he's able to stay busy, now he's getting at a little later age now, but he's able to stay busy with a punch output against any of these guys, he beats them easy because of his strength and power. But I think that what's going to be is the detriment to him is that he may not be as busy as he used to be just because he's getting older and maybe he's conserving a little bit more. In the Bivol fight, I thought he conserved a little too much. The first fight, maybe in this one he won't. We'll see a better Bivol and a better Beterbiev in this fight. But I don't think that either guy, Morrell or David Benavidez, is ready for those two.
Prior to facing Bivol in the ring, after his grand arrival, Beterbiev shared his thoughts in an interview, stating that his primary focus wasn't on securing a knockout, but on delivering solid boxing and performing at his best.
It's good, like it is boxing, you know. I never focus for knockout or something. I'm more focused for do good box, you know.
Frank Warren has also shared his thoughts on the rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Despite pointing out that the last fight was a close one, Frank Warren went on to predict a win for Beterbiev. He shockingly revealed the knockout round in his recent interview as well.
Just done an interview over there. I thought the first time he won it by a few rounds. I watched it back, it was close, but I still thought he won it. This time round, I think it'll be the 13th round of the last fight. That's my opinion, but I got it wrong. I picked Beterbiev to win it last time, but changed my mind on the result. I thought it was the other way around. But I think it's a tough fight. But I've got to go with Beterbiev. I think he knows what he's got to do. Obviously, Bivol does as well. He's a great fighter, but he's strong, Beterbiev, and you've got to hurt him. You got to hurt him. You got to really slow him down. You got to hurt him, and I don't know whether he can do that.
Eddie Hearn was also present at the grand event and shared his thoughts on the rematch. While he didn't make a clear pick between the two fighters, he speculated on the events of their previous bout. He noted that despite Bivol attempting to keep Beterbiev at bay, there was a point where he stopped throwing punches. Believing that Bivol hadn't given his full effort in their last fight, Eddie Hearn expected him to perform better this time.
I think what Frank says is right, it's going to be interesting, you know. I said in the first fight, when you fight Beterbiev, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's how long you can keep him off before he gets to you. And Dimitri did that for 9 rounds. To do that for 12 rounds, it's very difficult. And I think this time, Beterbiev will try and speed that clock up. He'll try and get to Bivol quicker. And if he does, it'll be a very tough night's work for Dimitri, because his feet are fantastic. You've got to keep punching. And Beterbiev wants to throw with you. And what Bivol did as they closed the rounds, he stopped punching. His movement was still great, but every time he came out, he wouldn't throw those 3 or 4 shots, and he'd just keep getting walked down. So, very tough fight. It was interesting to hear Bivol say he wasn't 100% last time. So, if he is 100% this time, I fancy our chances.
Hamza Shiraz also shared his thoughts on the potential rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. He recommended that Bivol land more punches and avoid standing directly in front of Beterbiev, as he felt it would be unwise to do so. Viewing the rematch as a likely repeat of their first encounter, Hamza predicted a stoppage victory for Beterbiev in this highly anticipated fight.
The thing he can do different is throw more punches. But he threw enough the first fight, because I don't think you can. It'd be silly to stand with Beterbiev. It'd be silly to stand with him. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a repeat of the first fight, maybe even a late stoppage for Beterbiev.
Yeah. Artur Beterbiev's sparring partner, Callum Simpson, also shared his thoughts on the rematch. He anticipated that the fight would unfold much like their first encounter, with Beterbiev coming out on top. Simpson went on to predict that Beterbiev would secure a stoppage against Dmitry Bivol in either the 7th or 8th round.
The fight will go similar to how it went, but I'm hoping from round 7-8, Beterbiev will put his foot on the gas and get this late stoppage.
Ahead of his rematch with Beterbiev, Coach Joel Diaz offered Dmitry Bivol some advice. He acknowledged Beterbiev's strength as an opponent, but emphasized that if Bivol could close the distance and control the range effectively, he would perform better in the rematch.
See a lot of things that Bivol can do. Hit, because we know that we have a strong fighter in front of me. You know, throw combinations, hit, and when he's about to start unloading on me, just close the gap, get inside, close, and don't let him unload. Instead of moving back, you know, because you got the momentum moving, he's moving after you. So he's throwing punches. But if you just step in, close the gap, stop the action, you can work. And when he's about to work, close the gap and don't let him work.
Andre Dirrell has also shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Bivol and Beterbiev. He praised Bivol for his exceptional fighting skills and went on to describe his style as the finest example of Soviet boxing. Dirrell confidently predicted that Bivol would come out on top in the rematch.
Bivol is so great with his hands and feet. He has that Soviet style boxing down to a T. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to stay long. He knows how to find them shots, right? He knows how to be in and out, tricky, fake coming in. Second you shoot, he right back out, and he come with a counter most of the time. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got Bivol.
Billy Dennis also weighed in on the rematch and confidently predicted a victory for Beterbiev, emphasizing his key fighting attributes. He said, this time Beterbiev is going to knock him. He's going to get that stoppage. You know, you have to fight with Beterbiev. If you can't box him, you've got to be very fit and very, very clever to outbox someone like that. The pressure, the cutting the ring off, he does all this. Billy Dennis had recalled his sparring experience with Beterbiev, thus emphasizing on the key factors that would determine his victory against Bivol. He said, the pressure, the cutting the ring off, he does all this. Because I've been there sparring him, he does not stop, the pace doesn't slow down, so you've got to stand there and give him something to think about. I think Beterbiev is going to try and do that, and that's why he's going to get caught in the crossfire, and then that's where it's going to be night-night. Despite the overwhelming favoritism for Beterbiev, some fighters and experts voiced support for Bivol. Oscar De La Hoya, sharing his thoughts on the rematch, picked Bivol to win. He highlighted Bivol Bivol's exceptional footwork and fluid movement, stressing that these qualities would be crucial to his success in the fight.
It's a very unique style. I would have to give Dimitri Bivol the advantage here a little bit because he has better footwork, you know. Beterbiev kind of like just stalks you down, you know, and with Bivol, he's just like constantly bam, 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 you know. I love that. He's a good boxer, man, with power. So, and he's got skill up here. It's a tough fight to call. But I'm gonna have to give Dimitri.
David Benavidez also expressed his belief in Bivol's chances, pointing out the key skills that could lead to his victory. He emphasized that Bivol's technical abilities, combined with his significant weight gain, made him a formidable opponent capable of winning the rematch.
I'm kind of leaning again with Bivol. Bivol is a great boxer and he has punching power. And then Beterbiev, I think he's a little bit older. You know, I think his body's breaking down a little bit. He works really hard. I don't take nothing away from him, but he does a lot of weights. And in boxing, when you do too much weights like that, that's when you start to break down more. So
Shane McGuigan also analyzed the Bivol versus Beterbiev rematch. He reflected on their previous encounter, pointing out the key factors that could have altered the entire game plan. In the end, he shared his predictions for the fight and revealed his pick for the winner.
I think it'll be revenge. I think Bivol can look at that fight and think where he could have, you know, he fought in spells. I scored it to a Beterbiev. Just felt he was more consistent. Feel like if Bivol had pressed it a little bit more, because he was pressing it in bursts, but then he was going off. He was taking long breathers, and it wasn't like he was tired. He probably thought he was in control and winning. Whereas, you know, you have to win. When you're in an undisputed fight, you have to win as many seconds of every round as possible. And I think he'll look at that and think, I can beat this guy. And I think once again, it might favor the fresher man.
Echoing some of David's thoughts, Anthony Yarde emphasized that both Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol would need to be at the top of their game for this rematch. He reflected on their previous encounter, highlighting key factors that could impact the outcome. Yarde also stressed that for Beterbiev to deliver more damage to Bivol this time, he would need to execute specific strategies effectively.
I do think Beterbiev won the first fight. It was a close fight. People will start saying stuff about robbery. I don't know about all that. It was a very, very close fight. Could have went either way. And the second fight, I see Beterbiev winning again, if I'm honest. But this time, if he goes to the body a bit more, I think he can cause more damage.
Johnny Nelson also weighed in on the potential rematch between Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. While recognizing Beterbiev as a tough opponent for Bivol, he confidently predicted that Bivol would secure the victory this time.
I think it'll be revenge, won't be repeat. I think Beterbiev has shown he's a tough operator to deal with. What is he going to improve on? But I think for Bivol knows what he can improve on. You see there's space for him to improve. So it won't be definitely go the distance, but I think this time the other way around, I think Bivol will pull it off on points.
Leading up to the fight, experts had differing opinions. Some favored Beterbiev to win, while others believed Bivol would come out on top this time. What were your thoughts on the rematch? Who did you expect to win, Bivol or Beterbiev? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to click the bell icon so you never miss an update.